know this is not going to be a super popular video on my channel, but you guys love when I talk about books, and I love when I talk about books, and I just want to be more than just makeup. Like, I have so many other sides of me that I try to show you guys as best as possible, but sometimes I like to keep things to myself. I'm a huge avid reader. I'm a huge video gamer, and sometimes I want to show you guys those different sides of me. So you guys always ask me to show you guys my book recommendations or talk about books. So for today's video, we're just going to do a reading wrap up, but maybe next time I might do like a get ready with me reading wrap up so I can still implement both makeup and books together. We shall see. But grab a snack, besties, grab a drink, and maybe, just maybe, I can inspire you guys to check out at least one of these books. Okay, so starting off with the first book that I read this year, I read the Callie Hart Brimstone. This is the sequel to Quicksilver, and I was so excited to get my hands on this book. Okay, I bought it last year, actually. I bought it the day that it went on pre-sale. I ordered it, I think, back in like January, and it got here on November 18th, and I was so excited to read it, but unfortunately, life got in the way, and I just did not have the time to read this. If you guys do not know, I have my job here on YouTube, but I also have my job at Disney. I'm also an editor for 2 content creators, and I also do a side hustle with some beauty brands. So I always am busy with work, and I don't always have the time to read, and sometimes I don't have the desire to read. So it took me so long to start reading this book, but I finally did. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, since it had been well over a year since I read this book starts right where it ends off in Quicksilver. I started to read it and I was like, what? Who are these people? What's happening? I literally had to go online and read like a full on synopsis of what happened in Quicksilver because I literally forgot. Like, I remember key points, but like some characters, I'm like, who are you again? What happened again? Like, it's amazing how much I forgot since the previous book. And I think it's because I read so many books that like stories can mix together, or if it takes way too long, I tend to forget. It just happens. So I had to read a synopsis and I started reading this book, and for like the first 45% of this book, maybe almost 50% of this book, I was not in it. I was not in it at all. I almost DNF'd this book, and I was kind of shocked because I was so hooked to Quicksilver. I mean, like, I could not put Quicksilver down. So when I got into this, I thought this was going to be the same type of premise. I thought I was going to be like, oh, yeah. I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to fly through it. No, I struggled to really get into it. And I don't know if it's just because it's been a year since I read Quicksilver or what, but I think for me, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. I love the idea of fated mates, and I love the idea of mates in a book, and I love enemies to lovers. I love those type of tropes, but I am not a big fan of when characters get together, that's all they talk about. Like, ooh, we're mates. And I'm just like, I get it. Y'all are mates. You don't have to say it every 2 seconds. And that's where I really struggled with this book, because that's what I guess a minor spoiler is the consistent fact of things being thrown in your face that they're mates. Okay, we get it. Move on. Do something else. Say something else. Have them do something else. Like, I don't have to have it constantly shoved in my face. It gets really repetitive and really redundant, and it just becomes so annoying for me to read, and it kind of takes me out of the story. So I found myself not really enjoying the scenes between the main FMC and the main MMC together, because I was just getting really aggravated at what was happening and the amount of conversations they had to have with each other. I'm just like, oh my God, get to the heart, get to the story. But then I will say about 50% of the way through, something happens at a party, and the story truly does start to pick up, and you really start to fall in love with the main FMC, Cereris, I think is how you say it. I don't want to butcher a character's name, because fantasy characters' names are always just these weird ass names. Anyway, something happens with her character, something happens at an event, and you could just really see things start to unfold rather quickly, and then the story really picks up. You really get to see you really get to see Ceres and how much of a badass she truly is. She really kind of comes into her own in this story, and she really kind of comes into her power. And I don't know, I've really found myself truly enjoying her story, being along with her on her journey. I enjoy her relationship with Kerrigan, which is one of her best friends. I love seeing kind of his story. It was just overall really, really enjoyable to read. And then when we get to the end of the book, obviously we get left with a cliffhanger, like, really? Really, you know, we get to a freaking cliffhanger. Like, why am I not surprised? So am I going to continue reading this series? I absolutely am, because I do really enjoy it as a whole. I gave this book a 4-star rating. It didn't earn 5 stars for me because of the fact that it just kind of was lacking in certain departments. And I shouldn't be annoyed halfway through the book. I shouldn't want to DNF it. I should have been gripped from the moment that I picked it up like I was a Quicksilver. And you know what? Maybe I would have been. Maybe if I read the two back to back for the first time, maybe I would have been absolutely addicted and just binged right through it. But because it's been over a year between the books and I just have read so much in between, I don't know if I had the same type of love. But I know I'm not the only one, because I've been on TikTok and so many of the people felt kind of the same way when it came to this book. This one had a lot of people loving it and a lot of people hating it. It was kind of one of those books that kind of fell in the in-between. Everybody loved Quicksilver, but for some reason this one, people had a lot of opinions on. And for me, my biggest gripe was just kind of the dynamic between the FMC and the MMC. I just really wasn't into it like I would have been. I just couldn't stand the constant things being thrown in your face. Like, we get it. Tell a story now. Like, tell us, you know, like show us the story now. Let's get into the heart. Let's get into the plot. Let's get into the fantasy element. Like, I love romantasy and I love when there's romance in there, but it doesn't have to be every 2 seconds. Do you know what I mean? So overall, I gave this a 4-star rating. And I moved on to this book called The Scars Within. Now, I am I actively participate in being an ARC reader, and anyone can do it. Like, you don't have to be a content creator to get an ARC. Just so you guys know, I have my friends at work and my real life friends outside of YouTube getting ARCs, because all you have to do is just be someone who loves to read and you can apply. Sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't. I've only ever gotten I think one physical ARC, and that's because I applied for it and I got it. And I was so surprised I got the ARC. But typically, I only ever get e-readers. But I applied for this place called the Nerd Fam. I'll have the link down below if you guys do want to check them out. You don't, like I said, you don't have to be a content creator to apply for it. If you're just a reader, then you could definitely apply, but they do ask that you guys follow up with stuff. So I do make sure I post on Goodreads and I post on Amazon, and sometimes I make social media content depending on if I like the book or not. If I hate the book, I won't make social media content, and I tell the people that. But if I love it, sure, I'll make a short, I'll make a TikTok, I'll make a YouTube. I don't mind. But I apply for ARCs, and sometimes I go through NetGalley or Book Siren, but mostly I go through the Nerd Fam. And I got approved for this book called The Darkness Within, which is going to be the second book to The Scars Within right here. So I got approved for this and I was like, oh shit, I have to read the first one. So in comes the second book I read this year, which is The Scars Within. Now, this has been blown up all over TikTok. People raved about this. People gave it 5 stars review. People are like, oh my God, it's 4th ring coded. You're going to absolutely love the Dragon Rider elements, the telepathy between the Dragon Rider and the people, the enemies to lovers, the banter, the forced proximity. You're going to love all of this, the magical elements. I was like, say less. Say less. I'm going to love this. Y'all, I struggled to get through this book. The writing was just very juvenile. The main character, she has such promise. You know, you start off following her where she's trapped in a prison, bound by chains and physically beaten almost to the point of death, where she was suddenly released by an unknown source, and she was going to throw herself in the midst of, she was going to throw herself in front of these horses at a horse race to essentially, you know what I mean? And she got rescued and she got put into this academy where she was pretty much forced to survive at, because apparently she comes from a magical lineage, a magical family where she has magical abilities that hasn't presented itself yet. So she's thrown into this military-esque academy where she has to discover what type of element she wields, whether it's earth, air, water, fire. And while she's there, she comes across these 2 brothers where she develops a love triangle with. Shocker. And it's really, really obvious to know which brother she's going to end up with. Like, you can see every single twist and turn happening from a mile away. If you read any sort of romantasy, you can literally picture and you can literally say, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. It literally is in your face. Like, you just know it's going to happen. So, you follow this girl and you think that she's going to be such a hard ass and such a badass because of given the fact that she has been beaten in prison for years, so she would have no trust. No. This girl just trusts people immediately. Just opens up and trusts them immediately. And I'm just like, what? Because in real life, if you were put into a situation like that, you would not trust anybody. You'd be like, no, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I don't know you. I don't trust you. No, this girl's like, oh, you want to be my friend? I trust you explicitly. You're like, what? That make sense? It just doesn't make sense. And then her relationship with the 2 brothers, it's so obvious to see which one she's going to end up with, and it's so clear as day which one's going to betray her. And it's just such a predictable book. so predictable. I called out every single thing long before it was going to happen. But you know what? I still wanted to push through because I really wanted to read The Darkness Within, because usually sometimes a sequel is better than the first, but this one I almost DNF'd. I gave it 2.5 stars, but Goodreads, you can only give it, full star. So I gave it 3 stars for just because I couldn't do 2.5. But overall, I would not really recommend this personally. And I know it blew up on TikTok as one of her first books, and she was so excited. She even has a whole a little blurb in the back of this book thanking all of the people on TikTok for the reason why she even put this book out. And I'm never one to want to trash someone's work, because I can only imagine what it'd be like to put your heart and soul into something. And I would just hate to make someone feel bad. So that's why I decided not to make any post about it. But then I went on to The Darkness Within. Now, this is the second book in the series. I got an e-reader version of this. I just bought the physical copy because I like having physical copies. Now, this one right here, I will say the writing has improved. You could definitely feel like in this book, the author really kind of found her voice, and she really found her confidence. So compared to the first book, you could tell that she was kind of unsure which direction she wanted to go. You're kind of unsure about her character development, how she wanted to have her characters be laid out in front of you, and how she wanted to kind of present the story. You could tell that she was just really unsure. But then in this book right here, she really kind of found her voice, and she found her confidence, which I really enjoyed as a reader, because her writing improved and her style improved and her character development became more concrete. And I really love that aspect. In this book, you do follow 2 POVs now. So the first book, you only followed 1. This one, you follow 2 POVs, and it's really kind of nice to see 2 different sides of the story. Now, the main FMC, I don't like her. She just is not a likable character to me. I just don't know what it is about her. I'm not a fan. But the second FMC, her name is Fallon. I actually really enjoyed her character. Her character had more promise to me, and her relationship with one of the main MMCs, I really enjoyed, because yes, it was kind of predictable, but at the same time, the dynamic between the 2 was absolutely amazing. The banter was incredible. The chemistry between the 2 was incredible. The yearning and the hatred between the 2 was actually really well done compared to the FMC, which her name is Scarlett, and then her relationship with another male MC is just kind of bland and boring, just so safe and predictable. Oh my god, yay, woo, they're together, woo, don't care, you know what I mean? But Fallon and the other main male character in here was actually really enjoyable to read. The magical elements in here, I really did enjoy. There is definitely more of a plot in here. There's definitely more of a fantasy twist in here, which I really did enjoy. There's more of a hidden story within that you're kind of going, okay, cool. Now I want to find out what happens. But the reason why I gave this book 2.5 stars is because it had too many elements of Fourth Wing. There's a scene where you're going to a town and you encounter dragons that are gray-scaled and almost skinny and death-like, very much like the vervain that you find in Fourth Wing. And I didn't like that. If you're gonna be inspired by a story, that's one thing, but don't outright take the same idea and the same concept. I did not like that at all. And I kind of felt like there were times where the author was just telling us a story instead of showing us a story. Because in one scene, I'm not kidding when I say in one scene, they're standing on a battlefield looking at a damage that has done, and in the physical next page, 2 characters are having sex. You're like, what you were just at what you were just looking at, we're just gonna skip all that. There's just too many skips that happen. Literally the story's and then this happened, love, and then this happened, love, and then this happened. You're like, whoa. You're not showing us. You're just telling us the story. You're just telling us little snippets of what happened. Where's the whole picture? Where is it? So it became very, very frustrating as a reader to read this. And again, I looked at so many reviews and people still rate about this. So I'm just like, are we reading the same story? But I know that reading is subjective. People are allowed to have their own opinions. I absolutely love and respect that. I get it. But shit, I'm looking at so many people's reviews did we read the same story? But I also know that this type of story right here, this is really good for those who are really kind of new to romantasy. If you're new to romantasy, you're not really sure what type of tropes you like or what type of elements you like, this could be a good starting base for you to check out. For me, I did give this 2.5 stars. It did end on a cliffhanger. Am I going to finish it? Unfortunately, because I like to torture myself and I do want to know what ends up happening. I do like how they ended it, and I liked how it kind of made you go, okay, you're going somewhere with this, and now I want to see what happens. So for me, I do want to finish this story, but do I recommend it? Not really. The next book that I read is called The Light Under the Shadow Wing. This was also sent to me as an ARC. It's coming out sometime in February. And unfortunately for me on this one, I had to report directly to the author. And I feel really bad because I also gave this book 2.5 stars. On Goodreads, I gave it 3 stars. But overall, I did give it 2.5 stars. And this is going to be standalone romantasy. So I was so excited for this. I was like, I've never really read a standalone romantasy before. So the story's going to start and end. And it had a lot of promise. You follow a girl who is a Phoenix Rider, and she is part of the elite wing of dragon shifters. And she helps to fight for a kingdom. And she kind of has a lost past where she doesn't remember what happened to her past, and then you kind of get to see through her eyes what happened and how she is the way she is and where she's going to end up going. And for me, the story had a lot of promise. I was like, okay, this sounds really intriguing. You know, she's going to be serving this dragon shifter king for 250 years. They've been in the elite force together. They obviously have some clear yearning and tension between each other. This sounds like it's going to be a great promise, like a great promising story. And I will say the story was well articulated. It was written very beautifully. The world building was really incredible. I really enjoyed some of those elements of it because you really felt like you were there. The dynamic between the main character and her phoenixes, because she has 4 phoenixes that she's connected to and like bonded to. I love the relationship. The relationship was very sweet, and it's almost like that was her family. That's who she belonged to. And I will say the yearning between her and the main dragon shifter Bane was amazing. The banter between the two was very hot and heavy. When they'd have fighting scenes, you're like, ooh, I just want y'all to like together already. Like, I really enjoyed a lot of those elements. But what really kind of took me out of the story is that for like the first 60% of the book, and I'm not kidding when I say this, majority of the book had to deal with politics. Now, I don't mind when politics are in the book. Like, obviously that's part of like a romantasy, especially if you're fighting for a kingdom. But like every conversation was the exact same conversation. Telling you guys about the same council meeting that they're going to have with the vampire king, the wolf king, the dragon king, the same type of conversation every single time between different characters. There's always the same conversation about the same people, same politics, this is what we're going to talk about in the council meeting. And it became so boring to read. I found myself skimming through those parts because I was like, I don't care. Like, you told us once, great. Why do you have to keep saying the same freaking thing about this council meeting that's coming up? What you guys going to say, who the dragon shifters are, who the dragon king is, and why he's going to fight for his territory versus the vampire king that he wants to kill. Like, we get it. You've told us this so many times now. It became super, super boring and very redundant, especially because there were scenes where the main female character was connecting to Bane, and there was like some really amazing sexual tension happening between the two. They were like, oh my God, just tear your clothes off already. And then you think they're going to go somewhere, and then nope, they have to bring up politics again, and they go into the whole big the politics spiel, and I'm just like, you know what I mean? It was so boring. But about like 60% of the way through it, it finally started to pick up. Things started to move incredibly fast, and then it was over. And I just felt like the story had a lot of promise, but she spent too much of her time speaking about the same damn politics that kind of took away from itself. And I just found myself just not really enjoying it as much as I did. Like, I was pushing through. I told my husband that like I really wanted to DNF it, but I don't really believe in DNFing a book when I was giving it into an arc. And I really wanted to be thorough with it. So I read it fully, and I was open to it, but I just couldn't get past some of those scenes. There are some great elements to it. I love the yearning. I love the burning. I love the tension. I love the enemies to lovers. I love the fighting scenes. I love how strong the main FMC character is. Like, she's incredibly strong, and she's very determined. She's not going to let anyone take her down. I loved her. I thought she was great, but I just felt like too much of the political aspects took away from a lot from the story. Like, I don't mind reading politics, but it doesn't mean shut my face every single page with multiple characters, the same conversation. So for me, I gave it a 2.5 stars. And this is one of those books that I had to report directly to the author, and they really wanted me to make a social media post. And I had to actually tell them that I did not feel comfortable making a social media post to this book to advertise it, because I didn't really have, not that I'm cruel towards the author, I'm never cruel to anybody, but I didn't have the kindest words to say about the book, and I didn't really believe in promoting something that I did not enjoy. So I said, unfortunately, this means I get disqualified from future arcs, I definitely understand, but here's my good reviews. I can't post on Amazon until the book releases, but here's my good reviews, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't do a physical review. I just don't believe in hurting someone else's work. So for me, that was a 2.5 star. And then let's get to the last book that I read this month, and it is Daggermouth right here. Now, this book, I've seen people talk about it all over TikTok. And a lot of times when people recommend books on TikTok, I tend to either look sideways going, I did not like that, or I'm like, you know what, let me give it a chance. I decided to give this book a chance. This is a dystopian book, and I have not read a dystopian book since like the Hunger Games and Divergent series. I have not read a dystopian book in a very long time. And this book truly took me by surprise, okay? Because this book, it follows multiple characters. Like, you're just kind of in the mix of the story. Like, you're following multiple characters. You don't really know who you're going to follow, because in the middle of a paragraph, you'll be following one person, then you switch to another. It's told from a third person perspective, which is really nice. But you literally are following multiple characters in this book. And you start off by following this guy named Grayson, and he is the executioner. So his job is to, unfortunately, on a daily basis, okay? That is what his role is to blank people on a daily basis. He is the president's son, and he lives in the elite society. Now, the elites are the most are the most prestigious people. They're the ones that wear face masks because, God forbid, their face gets revealed to the world. Okay, so you have the elites, which is the heart of the heart of Newfound Haven. It's the heart of the city. Then on the outer rings, you have the cardinals, and they're the ones that do the hard work of like the farming and the construction and just making sure that the city runs smoothly. Right? They're the ones that run there. Then you have the boundary, which is the outer ring, the most poverty-stricken place that people just get scraps. They're left there to die, is essentially where you're at. Now, the poverty is where they have the assassins, like the Daggermouths, and the rebellions also live there. So you follow a girl named Shidra, and she is a Daggermouth, and she gets a contract where she gets assigned a contract where her job is to go find Grayson, the executioner, and kill him. And she finds her way into the heart. Things happen, and unfortunately, those two get caught, and they end up in a marriage vow. So now they're supposed to get married. Mind you, they truly hate each other. This is a true enemies to, I don't even want to say lovers. I truly don't even want to say lovers because I don't think they're lovers. I don't really know where they stand, okay? Because the banter and the true fighting and the true hatred between each other, chef's kiss. The yearning that also occurs and the sexual tension, ooh, chef's kiss. But it's also more than that. It tells a story about rebellion, and kind of like with what's going on in today's world, you see people rise up against tyranny and dictatorship and try to fight back for what's right. Like, people get killed, I can't say the word without getting demonetized, but people get like this just for trying to give bread to somebody in a different, district than themselves. People get like this if they fall in love with a different person. Like if a cardinal falls in love with the boundary person, they get, just for falling in love with them, like they get all the time, every single day, for just being a human. And it's just really, really sad to see. I will say there's a lot of trigger warnings in this. If you are very much against violence, especially towards women, do not read this book. They have a whole page right here that has all the trigger warnings in here. I don't have any triggers personally, but I will say the fighting that occurs in here, there's some parts I'm just like you really start to fall in love with the main female character. She is an assassin, but she's so much more than that. You really start to understand the complexity of her character and where she's coming from and why she's fighting against the heart. She's essentially like Katniss Everdeen of like the Hunger Games. That's what she is in here, fighting President Snow. And she has her main FMC, who she thinks is this worst villain in the world that he may not meet. He may not be exactly who she thinks he is, and he may be also fighting for the same cause as she is. You truly get to see people that have absolutely nothing stand up and rise against what's happening to them. And it is just such a beautiful story. It's very fast paced. It keeps you going the entire freaking time. Like, I loved every second of it. But I think more than anything, it's the twist. The twist that happened in this book, I did not see coming. Normally I'm really good at predicting stuff. No, I did not see anything coming in this book. It was twist after twist after twist. And you're just like, oh my God. And then the ending, you're just like, I was reading this and I literally went, oh my God. And Cord looked over and he's like, what? I was like, we have to talk. I have to tell you this. Like, you would never even know that this happened. It is such a beautifully written story. And it is like a mix between Hunger Games meets A Handmaid's Tale meets Mr. and Mrs. Smith meets like A Stark Few is what it's being compared to. I haven't read A Stark Few yet, but I have to say it definitely is a mix between Hunger Games, A Handmaid's Tale, and a little bit of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like the assassin portion of the book. And I have to say this is absolutely a fantastic story. It's a heartbreaking story. It's a dark, twisted story, but my God, does it keep you wanting, my God, does it make you really want to root for the rebels and really fight on their side to bring down what's happening in the world and fight for basic human rights. And it's just absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend this, but I do also highly recommend, please check the trigger warnings because there's quite a few there in here. And there are parts in this book that definitely made me tear up, but there's parts in this book that just had me so angry within like 2 sentences of each other. No one's safe. and it's just a beautiful story. And the second book comes out later this year, and I will definitely be reading that. So that is my reading wrap up. I'll have all the books I linked down below. I pretty much had one true solid read this month besides I have one true like 6-star read. This is the first 6-star book of the year. Then we had Brimstone, and then the rest were just, you know what I mean? So I do have a new arc to read. I'm excited to read it. We shall see how it goes. Also, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I told you guys earlier this year that I'm going to be doing a reading challenge. For every book that I read, I'm putting money away. So anything that's under 500 pages, I'm putting $5 away. Anything between 500 to 1,000 pages, I'm putting $10 away, and anything over anything over 1,000 pages, I'm putting $20 away. And so far, we have quite a bit of money sitting right here because I read, and I'm so excited because I don't know how much is in here. I don't want to count it until the very end of the year. I think it's a really fun idea to do a savings challenge where I finish a book, I put money away, and you can dictate how you guys want to do it yourself. But this is where I'm at right now. I really hope you guys liked this video. Like I said, I know it's not really popular on my channel to do book stuff, but just in case, I did want to leave it here just in case. So that said, guys, that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 3 to 4 videos every single week. Make sure you guys have my other channels are for life. You guys get to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes these beautiful, wonderful patrons you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribed, you guys did not subscribe, either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in the very next video.